Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica and this is Stitchy Reese Pieces, where I show you all things stitchy that I've been working on. It's been about 3 weeks since I've made a video, so this will be an update video. And to tell you the truth, it's kind of a frustrating, sad update video because I've had wrist pain and so I haven't been able to really stitch much. So it's been frustrating few weeks, but we'll talk about that. Anyways, I'm super glad you're here and welcome back and thanks for joining me. So let's get started on all the updates. First thing I wanted to show you was a couple bags that I got made for my shop. So if you're in need of a project bag, I have a couple new ones. These are the deluxe version, so they have a pocket in the front and a pocket in the top. And like I said, these are up in my Etsy shop. The link is in the description below, but I have chickens that I recently listed, and this cute animals and hot air balloons that is up, and then this pretty floral, like blue spring floral bag. So those are up in my shop. And now on to the stitching. So like I said in my last video, I have had a hurt wrist, and I don't know if it's like carpal tunnel starting or if it's just like tendonitis from too much stitching. I noticed it started hurting for a couple days, weeks ago when I was stitching, but that was the only time it really hurt. So I was like, well, it's probably from stitching over and over again. And then I was shoveling, helping my husband in the garden, and then after that it just hurt. My wrist just hurt. And it's my right wrist, so it's my dominant wrist, and it's been hurting for weeks. And so I actually took a whole week off where I did not stitch. I tried to stitch with my left hand. That is way too hard. So yeah, I've had to take a whole week off, which is really kind of like depressing and hard on me because that's like my relief and fun at the end of the night when my kids go to bed, is I like to stitch. So instead I read a book, which I haven't read in a long time, which it was a really good book, by Kristen Hanna, I believe her name is. It was about like the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression. It was good and horribly sad at the same time. But I did that, and then I also did like a diamond art painting kit, but I'm not going to show that here. So I was able to like find something else to do to like calm my brain down at the end of the night, but it was super frustrating because my favorite thing to do is cross stitch, and it was hard to sew even. So there was a few days where I didn't even sew and I was just trying to rest my wrist. But until that happened, I got quite a bit done. Well, not quite a bit. I got stuff done. And then in the last 2 days, I've kind of worked my way back to just being able to do like 100 stitches just in the evening for a few minutes. So not a lot, but at least a little bit, like getting to do a little bit. Even though it still hurts, it's not as bad. I got some gloves to try. Have you guys used those gloves? Do they work? I'm hoping they work. And the other thing I have to show you is my Mosaic Crochet blanket, because that wasn't hurting my wrist. It wasn't like the same motion. So I was able to start crocheting in the last week too on my blanket that I've put aside. So I do want to show you that also. So we'll get started on just what I've been working on. I pulled out my one of my Dimensions kits, and it is the Summer Cottage, and this one had been started in the middle, and then I was going this way and I've gotten the roof, and I've just worked a little bit on like the red the red part, and this is the one where I tried to kind of do it with my left hand because it's on, oops, I better get that chart off there, it's on a frame, so I had it on the stand, but actually the way that my hand had to like go behind it actually hurt. So I tried to do this one left-handed for a little bit, and I filled in this kind of orange area left-handed, but it took a really long time, and it just wasn't really enjoyable, so I ended up putting it aside. So I didn't get a ton on this one, but I did get a little bit, and it's a bummer because I go through phases of what I want to do, and I've really been wanting to do Dimensions kits, and I worked on a few of them recently, but they're the ones that are hurting my wrists, I think, because I have them in frames, because it's easier to have it in a frame, and then I can go two-handed, but it's like hurting my wrist, I don't know. So that was kind of like depressing. I stitch in hand a lot and not in frames, and I think that doesn't hurt my hand as much, so I might have to go back to that. But for these ones that have more like confetti or one stitch here and there, they're not all blocky. The ones that are more blocky are easier for me to stitch in hand, but the ones that have different colors I find easier to stitch in a frame, but I think that's hurting my wrist more, so I don't know. I don't like stitching dimensions in hand as much, so it's making me not want to stitch dimensions, even though I did want to stitch dimensions. So it's kind of frustrating. But anyways, you guys don't want to hear about all that. The other dimensions that I worked on, and this is the one I did start working on for a while, and then I noticed my wrist hurting. And I had it on that same frame, but switched it. Is the balloon glow, and again I just started in the middle, and I think I went off somewhere this way. I'm working on that. I think, yeah, it must be the roof of that house now. Again, I don't have too much done on it, just a little bit. So I started on the balloon, and the balloon is right in the middle of where like pages connect, and so I hate that, trying to figure out where I am, so I like, get me off this balloon and onto the middle of a page so I can follow what I'm doing. So, worked on that a little bit. Doesn't look like I did that much, but I spent a few days before my wrist was causing me issues in that spot. So, I think those mixing of threads and just takes longer, I guess. Get that one put away. If I don't put these away, they will be all over. Okay, and then the other one that I really spent a lot of time on, I was doing this like every day until my wrists started hurting. So I got pretty far. I got a few thousand stitches, and I just started this one. So I showed it in the last one. I don't think I had started it yet, but maybe I had. If I had, it was just barely. But it's this like Spring Lake pattern that I got off of Etsy. I just think it's so pretty. I started in the middle, and I'm kind of like going up in here. So it's just really pretty. It's just from an Etsy shop. I don't even know what the Etsy shop is. But I saw it and I couldn't pass it up. I've never seen it before anywhere else. It's still in my hoop because this is what I was really working on a lot. So you can see like I got some of the reflection in the water and the grass, and then I've started that like, it's a little church. There. I'm loving this. This is 20 count, and I'm doing 2/1 tent stitch, because I do tent stitch on these big ones. But yeah, I was having a lot of fun doing it, so it was frustrating to have to stop because of my darn wrist. So that one's been a lot of fun, and that one I'm using that CXC thread on. Most of my full coverage I'm using CXC because it's a more affordable option for me when I have so many full coverages. Let's see, this one, oh, that one I didn't do. Having to sort through here. Okay, this one I worked a little bit on, but it was hurting my wrist, I think because it's like a tighter fabric. And I showed this before. It was a pattern I got off of Etsy, and come to find out, Stitchin' Mommy told me that it was actually an old dimensions kit, and I had no idea. So if I had known that, I would have seen if I could find the dimensions kit. I didn't. I thought it was just a pattern on Etsy. So it's this cute advent calendar. Apparently it's a knockoff, so that stinks. But I've already bought it in the supplies, so I'm just going with it at this point because I didn't know. But Stitchin' Mommy has it finished in one of her first videos showing all her finishes, and it's so cute. So I really wanted to get this done this year, but this fabric is, I think, I don't know if it's 16 count or 18 count. I don't know. It's a little bit thicker for me for some reason. I'm having a harder time with my needle. It might just be because my wrist hurts, but so I haven't gotten super far in it. But I started in the top and just working my way through there. I am missing a couple colors, so I'm having to like skip around a couple spots, but I just have this in a regular bag here. But you can see, I don't know if you can see very well, the picture's small. I just kind of started at the star, and I think that's Joseph's, I think this is Joseph's head. So I really love this one. I want to get back to it. I might work on it, see how my wrist does on that one tonight. So I worked on that one. I don't think this is going to be a very long video because I didn't do too much, like I said. I pulled this one out just for a short time. Maybe I just did a couple strands, just like I said, after my wrist has been hurting, because I just wanted to do something. So I really love this pattern. It's Luca S. Christmas Eve it's called. And I've started in the middle, and I've done a whole page. Where am I? I think I've done, I don't know, I've done something, a whole page in here, and I'm kind of going off now a little bit to the side, so I don't have a ton more done than I've shown you in the past. But you can see I have continued the top of this house on now. I want to keep working on it because I don't want there to be these lines in the middle. People have said that you can get lines when you stop like that. I don't normally do like a whole page like this, but because these are like an actual kit with like a full pattern page, it's easier for me to just do the page. So that's what I've done on this one. But I love how bright, how bright and crisp the colors and everything are. So worked on that one a little bit. And let's see what else I pulled out for a few stitches. I believe I worked on this one since I showed you last. I could be wrong. Again, like I always say, I lose track over time because I do so many projects, just picking them up here and there. So if I showed you this, well, you'll see it again. This is Made For You Stitch Garden Shelf. I got this off Etsy. They're not on Etsy anymore because I think it's a Russian shop, but you might be able to find them just like in general. I'm not sure. But Garden Shelf, I started in the middle, and I went this way, and I think I got that whole way. I might have shown you this last time. Now that I'm holding it, I think I might have shown you, but if not, or if you're new here, well, then you get to see this cute pattern, because it's super cute. So, there's that, and it's on a linen, some kind of linen, I don't know which kind, but super cute. It has a ton of back stitching. That pattern is like, almost everything on there is back stitched, so that will be a lot of work too. I pulled this one out for just a short time also, when I was just trying to get a couple stitches in and trying to use something that I could hold in my hands instead of doing on a stand. This is Crochet to Go-Go, the Spring in the City. I've done all this middle part already, and I just kind of started working on the tree just a little bit there. This is just on an Ada from Michaels, so it's no fancy fabric or anything. So that's the middle portion, and all I've done this time is this stuff with the tree. So I'm not too shabby for 2 days where my wrist was hurting and I didn't get very much accomplished, but at least I got something. So there was that one. I really like that pattern, but for some reason I get bored doing it for very long, which is silly because I like to finish a little motif, but I don't know, I can only work on it a little bit at a time. This one for for February, this was one of the ones that was called for WIPGO, was a finish, and I was hoping to finish this one. Well, so I had a finish and 5 days on a full coverage, and so that spring pond church one, I definitely spent more than 5 days on for full coverage. But I really wanted to get a finish, and this was the one that I was going to focus on finishing, and then my wrist went on me, and so it just didn't happen, but whatever. I'll hopefully get to it later. And so I started in the middle, and then I went this way, and now I think I'm back working on this house because I have like these two left. And I know I showed it to you last time and told you I was hoping to get it done, but I still have, you know, half this white house, a blue house, and a tree. So I could still get it done soon. When my wrist has been hurting, and then I finally am like, okay, I can do a little bit, I want to do something really fun, like that I've been looking forward to do. And this one, I love it. I love the pattern. But, you know, it's not like what what my mind wants to do at that moment. And so I've just kind of been like, whatever. So it's Star Spangled Street by Primrose Cottage Stitches is the pattern. And it's on the called for, and some of them are the fancy flosses, but some are not. Some are just DMC. Anyway, there's that one. I should just keep working on it. This is a sad tale. This one I got behind on now. This was I was doing really good keeping up too. This is my weather chart one by Jardin Privé, where you do a petal for each day based on the weather. For, you know, if it's like 70 degrees, you do this color. If it's 50 degrees, you do this color. And I was doing really well keeping up, and then my wrist started happening. And if I was going to stitch, I wanted to stitch something like really fun that I felt like stitching, and it wasn't this. This was just kind of a keep it up just to do it. So now I'm really behind because it's been like 2 weeks since I've done this or something because of my wrist. So I need to do it, but I'm behind on it. It was a free pattern for 2022, I believe. I changed it to say 2024, and then this is just how far I've gotten. But I'm pretty sure I should have almost all this top row done now. And I was going to continue on making the stems for the next month, but then my wrist, my darn wrist, and it still hurts. Like, I still can't do a lot with it, so I really hope that it doesn't keep up doing that. But because I want to get back to these things, but I can't do everything if it hurts my wrist. I just won't be able to stitch as much. So I hope I get back into this one. I've been trying to keep track of the weather so that maybe one day I can just pick it up and get back into it, because I started it. I want to keep going. And the last one, this is the last one that I just did in the last day. This one is easier for me to stitch because I do it in hand, and it's on 14 count Aida, so it's nice and big and easy. So I was able to do quite a bit. I did like 300 stitches in this last night. It's the Soda Stitch Winter Window. And I've stated before, this is all like white snow in the background. And so I decided to stitch it on like a iridescent or opalescent Aida and not stitch the white. So I'm hoping to not stitch that white, but I've gotten some of the curtain and in here, and I kind of filled in some of this down here. So I'm over halfway on this one because I'm not stitching that white, hopefully. You can't see the shimmer in this on the camera, but it is shimmery. But I filled in some of the quilt that's down here and down in here, and a little bit of the cat in the middle there. Sorry for the lighting. I love Soda Stitch. They're so cute. I just love the bright colors. I feel like they're just fast because they're kind of blocky and they're bright colors. However, she does have a lot of back stitch, so I've done some back stitch a few weeks ago, and I need to keep going so I don't end up with just full back stitch. But yeah, super cute winter window scene. So that one's been a little bit easier for me to go back to working on, so maybe that'll get some more stitches. So that's all the stitching that I got done in 3 weeks, which is not my normal, because for one whole week I didn't do anything, and this last week I only did a very little bit as well, so that's a bummer. I did, however, get quite a bit done on my Mosaic Crochet blanket, and if you've been following me, you might have seen my first Mosaic Crochet blanket that I did last year, and I fell in love with it. I've crocheted on and off throughout my life. Not a ton. I'm not a huge crocheter, but I've done little bits here and there. And last year I discovered Mosaic Crochet and loved it. It was so easy, and it makes these like amazing pictures, and it's kind of like a cross-stitch sampler where you have like a different picture on each row, sort of. And so I just really love it. So the pattern that I'm doing right now is called Flora's Fauna, and it's got, you can do different variations. So mine is kind of like, let's see, sort of like this variation. This is like the larger size and this is the smaller size. So I'm just doing a small one. So the bottom there's ladybugs, and then there's snails and hedgehogs, acorns, squirrels, leaves, owls, and then I think there might be butterflies on top. So I've gotten the ladybugs done, snails, hedgehogs, and I'm now started on the acorns. So I got pretty far on this, and this is using, like, I love that cotton, I love this cotton from Hobby Lobby, and I really like it. I think they're good kind of fall colors, but I'm not a really big orangey red person, so I like these colors for fall, but, so, it's not super wide. Oops, sorry, I'm like by a window and there's a lot of light. It's really sunny today, finally. But it's not super wide, but it's a good enough like throw blanket. And then, yeah, I haven't gotten super far on it, but I did get quite a ways. So you can see at the bottom, the ladybugs in gray, and then these, it's hard to show this, little snails. And then I just recently finished the hedgehogs with the like leaves in between, and these I've now started are the bottoms of acorns. So I'll be doing I think 2 rows of acorns. So anyway, they're just super fun. These patterns are super fun. On the back it kind of just looks like stripes for the most part. You can kind of see the shapes. But if you've never heard of Mosaic Crochet and you like to crochet, you should definitely look into it. You can see the ends have like a fringe on them. You can close this in at the end, but you always, with Mosaic Crochet, you work right to left and you cut off the string. So it's just 1 row at a time and you switch colors. So you can see on the back it's gray, white, gray, white. I don't know, it's just super easy, and I love the outcome. So I did work quite a bit on this when I couldn't cross stitch, so there's that. Anyway, I'm so glad you guys joined me again. Hopefully I gave you some motivation to get stitching on something, or pull out a project you haven't had out for a while, or just enjoy that you aren't in pain if you aren't in pain, and that you can cross stitch. So put a few stitches in for me since I'm not able to do my full amount. Yeah. And we're working on our garden this week, moving rocks and a lot of other stuff. So I'm guessing I won't be doing a lot of stitching, especially coming in through spring. We are looking at putting in an orchard, like some fruit trees, and doing a garden. So I won't be putting out, I don't know how many videos I'll have coming out this spring. I'll try to keep up, but I don't know how much stitching I'll really get done. The other thing I was going to show you real fast, because it was just so sweet, and I kind of want to keep this just as my memory of for myself also. My 6-year-old made me a first place ribbon. That's so cute. He said, I made some muffins, so I've been getting wheat berries and grinding my own wheat. So everything that we've had for bread, pasta, English muffins, anything, I've been grinding our own wheat and having fresh flour. And so I made some muffins, some chocolate chip muffins the other day with it, and my son said, if these were entered into the fair, you'd get first prize. And so he made me a first prize ribbon, and I just thought that was so cute, so I want to remember that. So sweet. Anyway, so yeah, I've been spending a lot of time in the kitchen and the garden, and that's probably where I'll end up here as we get closer to spring. And I hope you guys are getting outside time and it's warming up where you are too. It's so nice here in North Carolina right now. We're supposed to get rain for a week, but it's been sunny, and so yeah, we're going to go ahead and work out in the garden today as well. But anyways, thanks for joining me. Hope you get lots of stitching done, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And until next time, happy stitching. Bye.